This week on MS Refresh, the user voice replacement has been announced finally, and it's a little bit self-serving. And Microsoft Teams is now available for CarPlay. How about them apples, Android? All that and more. Subscribe to stay in the know. This is the MS Refresh Show. Hi there, and welcome to the Matt and Sean 365 Refresh Show. This is episode 39 for the work week of October 11th, 2021. Coming to you from the East Coast, my name is Matt Wade.
And as always from the West Coast until it falls into the ocean, I'm Sean Bugler.
And we cannot wait until that day happens.
You know, I keep banking on my inland apartment becoming beachside property.
I mean, you didn't purchase your apartment though, did you?
No, I didn't think you could own things out here in the Bay.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Well, that's in general, yes. Although I've always found it weird that in New York City you purchase apartments. Apartments to me are always rented, but for some reason, big cities, weird.
You can buy a condo. You know, that's just maybe it's just like a conceptual difference.
Now you can buy an apartment though in New York City too. I don't know why. It's just such a big.
Oh yeah, they have like co-ops out there.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I digress. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am tired. You know, you and I were just talking as we were gearing up to go live. I hate being the new guy. I genuinely do. I'm fine. You know, this isn't a question of like, you know, I'm overwhelmed in the sense that I'm never going to figure this out. Like, you're going to be fine. For anybody who's starting their job, you're going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. It's just a lot. And I hate, like, part of my charm, for better or for worse, is being very confident. And it's not wise to do that when you're starting a new role because you don't know everything. Not that I know everything in every other aspect. But that's stop. But it's just, I'm ready for this chapter of, you know, the journey to be done so that I can kind of just get to work. That's all I want. I just want to get to work.
How long did you work for the Transportation Commission?
A little under 4 years.
Oh, okay. So that wasn't like super, super long. So you've had to have been the new guy reasonably recently then.
Yeah, you know, in a sense, I think that, like, yeah. You know, 3 to 4 years is my standard rotation. You know, yep. I get itchy at about 3 years. Yep. And I think barring a pandemic, I tend to bounce at about 3 years. The disclaimer that won't apply to future employers. Whoever you might be. But yeah, no, so I'm ready to close that book out. Oh man. Yeah.
You're just tired. I hear you. No,
I am tired.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure it doesn't help that, you know, like the world is on fire and blah, 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 blah.
Remains on fire.
Right.
Remains.
Anything new in your world?
No, not really. Just kind of chugging along. Yeah, not really. I'm not even going to try to grasp it at anything. It was a reasonably boring weekend. Work is work, and a couple side things I'm working on, which are exciting, but not really there yet. So you kind of have to.
You're still not going to announce anything. You keep teasing it week after week.
No, not today. Nope, sorry.
All right, everybody, come back next
week. Yep, exactly. All right. Well, the topics for today, or the typical topics we have going for week by week, we are on week 2. So we're going to be covering what was due at the end of last month. So what came about in September. I'm waiting for you to be like, well, I did it for the list for coming up in November or something. Mm-hmm. It'd be funny, but I guess not. So, so we're going to talk about what was due in September. And these are all launched or rolling out is what I'm...
Supposedly.
Yes, exactly. Because one of the things we're going to talk about today, I can't get it to work.
Spoilers.
So, yeah, I know, right? So I think it's probably worth kicking it off into the news. Sound good?
Let's do it.
All righty. 1, 2, and 3.
This is the news.
Nothing if not a showman. Yeah. I'm a sucker for nostalgia. Let's talk about everything that launched, or supposedly launched, last month according to the Microsoft 365 roadmap. Let's get into it. Microsoft Teams. Teams saw a few dozen items launched or kicking their rollout off by the end of September. Here are some of the highlights. Pinning and filtering chats on mobile, though we haven't seen this working in the wild yet. This very well may be the one Matt was hinting at. Live events can now be scaled to 100,000 attendees, but only if you ask nicely. A reminder, you'll need to partner up with Microsoft directly to take advantage of that increased cap. And if you mistakenly end your 100,000 person live event, embarrassing, you can restart it, or any other live event for that matter. Notifications will be native for new users, which inevitably means, they haven't announced it, inevitably means they'll be phasing out these non-native notifications at some point. They're clearly moving in that direction. So I think this is a good thing. Search on mobile will provide suggestions and, in a feature update tailor-made for me, a list of past searches. A boon for safe multitaskers everywhere. Teams is now available in Apple CarPlay. Android Auto who? Some Teams templates will be getting Power Automate workflows included with them in an effort to showcase the power of the overall ecosystem, which is pretty cool. I think Microsoft is continuing to work on telling the story about Teams as a hub of integrations, not just a place for chat. Hold music is now available when someone is transferred between calls in Teams, because everybody loves hold music. And finally, we've mentioned it before, but reply to a specific message in private chat on desktop, a lot of specifics on that one, is rolling out. And so, to quote our very own Matt Wade, please shut up about it already. Microsoft Stream. Blink and you'll miss it. Microsoft Stream had one lonely update. Viewing the transcript for a Microsoft Teams meeting recording is now rolling out. Yet another step on the long march towards the modern stream experience, which, I say with much emphasis and much affection for the Stream team, cannot come soon enough.
Agreed.
Jumping over to Microsoft SharePoint. All quiet on the SharePoint front as well, with only a handful of updates. SharePoint News Boost is out. Text web parts on modern pages should now work nicely with images, which is huge. And the option to toggle a gradient in the page header of modern pages is launched, allowing authors to decide whether it enhances the legibility, look, and feel of their pages. Interestingly, the planned feature to add a text web part automatically to newly created sections on modern pages was canceled based on customer feedback, which is interesting. We normally hear about things being delayed because of customer feedback. Very rarely do we hear outright cancellation, so this is new. I'm told Matt is very sad about this one. I am unaffected.
Hate you.
SharePoint syntax seems to have been a bit more active than SharePoint itself in September. Here are some of the items that have launched. Auto-tagging documents with sensitivity labels. Models can be published to a specific site or the whole tenant. A new site template called Content Center, familiar, is now available, designed specifically to help with creating and managing understanding models. And lastly, some good news, rare as it is for our friends in the public sector, Syntax is now available in GCC. What? I know. Jumping over to PowerPoint, PowerPoint has finally rolled out modern comments, which lets you assign and resolve task comments as well as to @mention people that are in your directory, joining both Word and Excel in the process. And finally, to bring us on home, some updates for Yammer. Nested replies, an increasingly in-demand feature in the community space, are here, as are official communities. The people love a check mark. And lastly, really more of a Viva thing, but we figured we include it. You can now discover communities in the Communities app of Microsoft Teams. Believe it or not, there are entire classes of people onboarding into the Microsoft universe right now that really only interact with Yammer through Teams. So it makes sense to bring more of that discovery into the Teams app. And that's the news.
That was the news.
I thought I'd test out the new hold music.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, everybody loves to be put on hold. Keep it going. All right. Well, thanks, Sean. That was excellent. Very well done. And I'm curious, what stood out for you this week?
You know, it's funny, we keep talking about it, and I didn't really think much of it until this final time us talking about it launching. But CarPlay for Teams, I think that's by itself not very exciting. But what I think it represents is a really interesting thought experiment. This idea of the utility of Teams in a non-visual sense. You know, I think that you and I make fun of Teams all the time because of how cumbersome it can feel to do certain things.
Never.
You know, like it's just that they're moving at warp speed to tack on new features to the extent that sometimes they don't even have time to put it into the UI. They, hide it behind PowerShell or what have you. Mm-hmm. But there's another side to this, which is the extension beyond UI into this hands-free experience of things. Right now, today, as I understand it, the CarPlay experience is basically just your ability to interact with a meeting that you're already connected to like mute and unmute yourself. You know, it's the kind of the bare bones Zoom experience, basically, the hitting feature parity with that. But if you take a look at what Microsoft is doing with voice in other areas of the ecosystem, I'm thinking about Outlook, for example. You know, like they phased out Cortana in a lot of different spaces, but we're starting to see them build kind of these dedicated voice experiences into their apps. So like, what does that look like in Teams? And I was just I thought it was a fun thing to think about. Like, what do you think that experience might look like in the future for Microsoft?
I'm still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the brand.
with the brand, with Cortana. Do you think they're going to hold on to it?
Well, I mean, they might as well, right? Like, an entire generation of gamers walked away from Halo, having learned what Cortana was, and then Microsoft actually adopted it for their, AI tool. So they just rolled out a few months ago the Microsoft Scheduler, which is Cortana, and then are charging $10 a month for it per user, right?
Don't get me started.
So they've already put money or put an expectation of a payment in place to interact with Cortana. Cortana still exists in Windows to an extent. I don't know. I don't understand why there's not a more cohesive experience with the whole text to speech to text experience on in the Microsoft world, I guess. It seems to be every app kind of does whatever it wants, and it seems that Outlook happens to be the one that jumped more on the Cortana bandwagon, which is arbitrary because it could have just been at Scheduler, right? Like, they didn't have to have it be at Cortana, right? But
maybe that's where the $10 is the intra-department licensing rights to Xbox.
I like that. Yeah. So let me ask you this. First off, I never want to assume with anybody who lives in an urban environment. Do you have a car?
I do. Yeah, I do have a car.
Okay. And do you have CarPlay? Is it CarPlay enabled?
I actually went so far as to get a third-party head unit and pay to have mine swapped out so that I would have CarPlay. So yes, I do have CarPlay. Okay. Big fan.
Yes, that was a very long answer. I tried to get CarPlay set up in my car this week, and it kept telling me that Siri had a problem because you have to enable Siri first. And I don't know if it's like I have to do some sort of settings thing in the background, but it's not like Teams told me how to do it. Right? There was no entry. There was no hand holding for the user experience. And then I got distracted because I discovered that on that page, because
it just dumps all the apps on there. Yeah.
Right. Well, it turns out there's a Dunkin' Donuts mobile app now, and I can just order my most recent one at the Dunkin' Donuts down the street from me. Like what?
And this is the kind of innovation we're looking for.
I know.
Microsoft, where's that partnership with Starbucks at?
I was fascinated by Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, there's no way that you can order stuff. This has got to be some sort of just advertising plan on their part to like, oh, look at now there's an app in CarPlay. Nope, you can actually order an old or a recent order, reorder it basically, because I always get the same thing anyway. So what difference does it make? Yeah. So I got totally distracted from Teams, never went back, but I tried 3 times before Dunkin' Donuts grabbed my attention, and I couldn't get it set up. It kept telling me that, no, Siri, you have to enable Siri. Okay. And Siri would do that little thinking thing. You see those little circles spinning around on the bottom, and eventually it'd come back with, sorry, I can't do that right now. And it's like, oh, all right.
I completely forgot until just this moment. I also tried to open up the Teams app, and I got that exact same thing.
So I don't know if you have to enable Siri in the background, in the settings, which maybe you do, and that's not super hard. In fact, I should probably look. But at the same time, I shouldn't have to figure it out.
No,
for
it should just
myself.
work. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Or it says, hey, by the way, you need to enable Siri on this, and like go into the settings app and do it, you know? So I was not displeased. I don't really care that much, but like I was unimpressed, I guess, by the fact that it did not work, and I couldn't get it to work. Because I'm curious, probably very unlikely, but like, you think they're going to use the screen for like the meeting screen?
I mean,
Doubtful,
I think
right?
no, yeah. Like ideal world, and thinking the ability to jump into meetings that are already scheduled, to have like a voice-free experience that you can call other people. You know,
Yeah.
I think that those are kind of like, and this is exactly what I'm hoping to think about. Is like what does the extension of this look like? It's not just I'm in the car and I can manage this meeting I'm already engaged with, but
Right.
how can I be genuinely productive while I'm listening to Michael Barbaro go, in the daily? You know, like that's what
Right.
I'm looking for.
Yeah, because I need to be able to answer a call. I need it to be able to, like, my calendar app will tell me that I have something coming up in CarPlay.
Yeah.
I should be able to tap that, and
Just
it should
jump
be
into the
able
meeting.
to ask me to join the meeting. Now I just checked my Siri and search settings on my iPhone, and under Teams, because each app has its own Siri settings, everything is turned on. So there's like zero chance that it's not there, that it's that. So I'm not sure what the deal is. I don't know why it didn't work, and it's interesting that it didn't work for you either.
Well, we're retroactively clawing back that announcement. Apologies, fans.
I don't know what to say. It's I would like to see what it does. I wouldn't mind taking a call or two in my car as opposed to always having to be sitting at a desk or whatever.
Yeah.
Traveling.
So, I think to close it out, I remain optimistic that there's more to this hands-free experience, and I hope that they are genuinely thinking about that, particularly as the world starts to slowly crawl back open in some parts of the world. Like, some of us are going to be back in cars. What does the ideal Teams experience look like in a
Some of us
hands-free
already
way?
are back in cars.
Ooh.
Sorry.
But yeah, that's me. What caught your attention?
All right, so my item for this week is the new feedback portal, basically the new UserVoice replacement. And it sounds reasonably good. I'm still very displeased that they had to just pull the plug on UserVoice a number of months ago out of nowhere. So here's some interesting information about this. So I actually had to read into it a little bit more to really get it. There is a message center notification. So if you're an administrator for your M365 tenant, you should be able to see this. It's 289676. It was published on the 6th of October. And essentially, this is going to be a centralized feedback mechanism, similar to UserVoice, upvote, downvote, comment, that kind of thing, public and transparent, not the provide feedback in PowerPoint that goes to the PowerPoint team and from my perspective is a black hole. Will be for all the M365 apps and Edge. Timeline, not so great. It's due at the end of this year. In English only. Other products, including Windows, will come on board next year. And it's more than likely that you're going to require a Microsoft account to access it. So if you remember UserVoice, you could use like your Twitter or Facebook. In fact, I may have upvoted things multiple times using multiple accounts.
Matt, you promised you wouldn't say anything.
I might have asked my friends and parents to do so as well because there was no rule against it. So you will likely have to have an M365 account. I would be willing to bet my next paycheck that does not include GCC High and DoD accounts, which
because they exist in their own universe.
just a pet peeve of mine. And then
Take
whether
out
or not
that personal Microsoft account.
I know, right? And whether or not you can provide feedback with that account will depend on the policies that an administrator has set up on the system. So I thought it was interesting to kind of show a little bit. Let's add this to the stream so you can see what the announcement looks like. So if you don't have, if you're not an administrator, you won't see this, but this is sort of the information that they're providing. And the big thing in here is this little statement right here, which says feedback is powered by Dynamics 365 customer service. So they're basically using their own platform in Dynamics 365.
A rarity. Like, this doesn't generally happen when they open it up to the masses. So this is eating their own food.
Yep. So positive thing here is that they're eating their own dog food. The negative is that it's not an open, not open source isn't right, but like more open and visible tool like UserVoice, right? the other interesting thing is that they are using this as an advertising opportunity to say, hey, you too can use this feature. It's great. You should really dive into it because it's actually a new feature within the Dynamics 365 customer service. What are those? Not portals. What are they called?
Module?
Yes, module. Thank you.
There it is.
And it's going to be called the community tool. So this will have all the same feature sets and be able to, basically, if you have your own product and you want to get feedback from people, you can do the exact same thing. So I thought this was interesting. Can't come soon enough, frankly.
Sure.
I don't really care all that much as to, the look and feel as much as I want to see the visibility of these items. I'm also really curious to see what happens with, do they import existing ones? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
So imagine what requests are going to be upvoted quickly, because a lot of them have the I've existed for a long time bias,
Right.
I have 10,000 upvotes, therefore I will remain at the top of the request list because I've been on the request list since 2016 or something.
Right. And somebody filters or sorts by upvotes and they're like, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yep. Oh, that's true. I hadn't thought about that it's sort of an organic thing too. Yeah, that people will continue upvoting those things. But I remember private channels up until 2017 or 18, whenever they rolled out in Teams, and then being able to combine accounts and basically see all of your teams regardless of what tenant it's in. That's always been the number one, at least since private channels happened, because they could close out the private channels one. So from the Teams perspective, I'm kind of curious to see now what works its way up, because
multi-account.
Yeah. Oh, I think that'll still be up there, but will it be number one still? Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people using Teams now than there were 2 years ago that have no interest whatsoever in multiple account support.
What do we got? How do we apply this audience? What do we brigade on? You know what I want? I want more emoji reactions. I want.
No, you don't.
I do. I want that.
I want Party Parrot.
I don't need Party Parrot, but I want, more than anything, I want the laughing with the tears, and I want the party horn, with the confetti. That's my celebration. Yay, you did it. That. I just want that. None of those emotions represent anything I feel.
I had somebody ask me recently whether or not it's professional to respond with the anger reaction in Teams.
That's no.
I mean, if you have to ask, you probably shouldn't use it. But at the same time, okay, fair enough. There's not really a good reason to use that unless it's in a joking format, which I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, there should be the judging canted frown. That one, that should be
frown.
The I'm not so sure face.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
That's what it should be, or a thumbs down.
I just want a consistent emoji reaction list for all the Microsoft products. That's all. I care about.
Maybe that's what it is. We should all insist that they use the LinkedIn emojis. That should be what we update. I do like the LinkedIn
emojis, actually.
We should just all insist on using the LinkedIn emojis.
It's Yammer, LinkedIn, Teams messages, I should say, and then Teams meetings have their own reactions. You can't anger in a Teams meeting, unfortunately, which I feel like, you're in a town hall and your CEO is saying something like, well, we're going to have to cut, benefits over the next couple. What do you come back? Do you laugh at that? Is that the meeting reaction that you respond? Because there's no other good ones that you can use. And then what's the other one that just the other day? Oh, Outlook is coming out with its own as well, and it doesn't match any of the other ones either. There needs to be an emoji, I don't know, lead or something internally. Emoji Tiger team.
Going on the record as saying that the worst thing that ever happened to Microsoft collaboration was moving away from Skype and the hitting head against brick wall emoji.
Oh yeah. So that's still an option in Teams.
Is it? No, but I want to be able to react to it, two messages with it.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah.
I don't, and
I understand.
If nothing else, they should blend the two. I should be able to react with every emoji that they make available into that. Let's at least streamline that. Two different emoji sets in the same application is not ideal.
Oh, not even. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. So I guess to circle this all around, So yeah, UserVoice has a replacement. It doesn't really have. I guess it's the feedback portal. It's going to be called, and it's going to be for most of the
Catchy
M365
name.
apps. I know, right? It gets the point across. I guess I can't complain too much in that respect. UserVoice is simply the name of the
company.
the
Yeah,
platform that the third-party platform that did that. So like
but it's a good name.
yeah, that is true. I will give you that. So that's what I found interesting this week. I guess we'll see what happens on that one. It's an interesting opportunity for them to advertise the platform to people.
And notch another micro purchase. If you weren't on Dynamics,
Yeah, right. And I think those licenses are like $10 a month, which, boy,
I don't
you'd have to
know.
cut,
Between
you'd have to
that,
cut your
Cortana.
I don't know. That's a tough one. That's really Cortana. Figure out what I want.
Yeah. Drop it in the comments. What's more valuable to you, Cortana scheduler for $10 a month, or Dynamics customer
service module? Anyway, shall we take a couple comments? Did you see any that popped up?
Oh, I want to go ahead and just lead with who has become a stalwart in our live shows, Ross. Where the Northern Lights are visible. I've never seen the Northern Lights. Have you?
Me either. That is on my list. I want to see.
All right, Ross, we're coming to see you when the world opens up.
Yep.
Let's see. Following up with another random question from Ross. This is a fun one. With William Shatner traveling to space this week, delayed by a day, would either of us be interested in becoming space tourists? And would you choose Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I'm going to say, I think that's tough. I'm going to say, I think that the Virgin Galactic launch is more novel because it's like plane and then rocket, which is kind of cool. But I think that from the pure, like space rocket launch experience of like shoot a rocket up and then come down, I think I'd probably end up going with Blue Origin.
So you didn't really answer the initial question, which was, would you be a space tourist?
Oh, no, that was a default yes. I would totally do that.
So yeah, me too. That being said, I would rather actually like leave the atmosphere. I would hold off on that like life-changing investment
until you can actually leave the atmosphere.
Be in space. Yeah, I don't really care to be in the mesosphere or stratosphere or something. I want to be actually in space. And I think I'd go for Virgin.
Sure, that makes sense. I mean, I would say that the appeal that I see with the Virgin was like you had a little bit more flexibility in terms of like takeoff, like being able to, flying in the plane and then the rocket shoots off from the plane. That's cool.
Yeah. And I don't know. Branson is interesting to me. The other potentially Bond villainy CEOs out there are a bit less, I don't know. Not that I'm saying Branson is great, but I used to live in the Virgin Islands and he has his island off of the BVI. So it was just, hop, skip, and a jump away. And I remember after Obama retired or left office.
Oh, that's right. He went out on vacation there. I remember that photo.
Like
he looked
weeks.
So happy.
I know, right? Exactly. And that was all over the local paper, was the Obama sightings on boats. And he never came to the USVI. He always stayed in the BVI. But you could see those. I mean, literally, you can see them like they're right, next door.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. So,
what about you? Did you see anything jump out to you?
Let's see. So, I mean, Jimmy, I will never not be intrigued with design in UI. So, there was a great podcast episode. I think it was of Reply All, or maybe it was This American Life, or maybe it was 99PI. It was probably 99PI that went over how to get an emoji through the Unicode Consortium. And the guy who did the episode got through the yoga emoji and used that as the basis of his story. And it was fascinating to hear how, like, there's only so many emoji. They started in Japan, and then they went worldwide. And then we decided that we had to be more world friendly. Couldn't be just Japanese culture, but there are still a lot of Japanese ones in the setup, and how there are a lot of concepts that people ask for that don't necessarily get through. And this guy got his through, and it was really interesting.
I didn't know. I mean, I know now, but I didn't know at the time that emoji were specific to Japan. A lot of people don't know. I know you know. but I grew up in Japan. I lived there from 1999 to 2008. And
So did you not have them on your
Oh
phone?
no, I did. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
It was
Oh,
just,
okay, gotcha.
they were just, but that was part of it. Like they were just
Oh,
there.
they were ingrained in. Okay, so you just assumed everybody had them. Okay, gotcha.
We had video chat. Like I remember I had a flip phone that had video chat, and you could just like, I'd flip open my Panasonic and I'd video chat with a friend, and that would be like all the minutes I had for the month. And but yeah, no, I mean, I can't imagine a universe without them now. It's basically a second language.
Yeah.
God, God help us when that becomes a high school course.
Let's see. So I think there was only one more that really stood out to me, which was I haven't tried it yet, but the to see if restarting a live event in Teams works yet. Which
honestly, I don't even think I've
sure.
participated in a live event with Teams Live yet. Anytime an organization has had the opportunity to do it, they've used Zoom.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't understand. Like that. What's wrong with Teams, guys? What was going on?
Well, so but like a Zoom meeting doesn't offer the same type of experience that a live event does in Teams, unless there's some sort of specific meeting type in Zoom that I'm not familiar
All
with.
I'm saying is context with organizations that have Teams licensing that could have used a Teams live event, use just a regular old off-the-shelf Zoom.
And do they just lock everybody's microphones or something? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Or they do like a Zoom webinar, which is like dedicated functionality.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Which is probably more like a live meeting, actually, because I think the Teams webinars are just a fallback or like a reaction to the fact that, well, we have live events, which is really kind of a webinar experience.
It's just a webinar, yeah, right.
Right, but we need this whole
I'm
sign-up
sure we're
page
missing
thing.
nuance, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but we need a sign-in page or a sign-up page, right? Like that's the difference. So yeah, I'm not sure.
We got feedback from Jamie as to whether it would be easier to just change my virtual background to and from a picture of my bedroom, which is funny because we've made that joke before of like I should just have a virtual background. It's not like anybody would notice. In fact, I'm just gonna like move now. If you could just take a screenshot for me.
Oh, we even see there's a green screen behind you too.
I've never quite nailed getting it out of the picture. Because our intro is so much longer and it gives me a lot more time to like move it into.
This is definitely true. All right, so I'm actually going to test this out real quick and see if I can start and end a live event.
Are you doing it right now?
Yeah. See if you have another comment there, and we'll chat while I get in here.
Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just run through. Jamie also says that he'd prefer a do not disturb message while driving. No real interest in attending meetings from my car, which is interesting. I think that's an opportunity Microsoft ought to take advantage of. Like they're already building into CarPlay, which means that they'll know they're connected to a car. Why not just have an option that can automatically enable do not disturb? Sure, your car or your phone might have that option, but do you really want to be that ham-fisted with it? It would be nice if you could just say like, no, I don't want to do work stuff while I'm driving. I know that that's not the case with my current or my previous role, but there have definitely been times where work has incensed me to the point that I should not be driving.
I guess that's fair. I wish, so I like the ability to be able to use the ride as a way to use my time so that like my ride can be part of my workday if possible.
What a capitalist answer.
I mean, but then I can.
I want to be really
leave.
Maximum efficiency.
It's not so much efficiency. Like I'm not saying I'm putting in extra time for the call. It's that I can leave the office a half hour earlier than I would have otherwise. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that very much depends on the workplace. Because I think for a lot of people, it's no. Your work starts when I see you walk in the door. Yeah. Although I'm sure that's changed for a lot of us.
That's valid. So I am not able to restart a live event.
Are you a part of the preview program? Are you on your TAP account?
I am on my TAP account. Does not.
If you're on your TAP account and it's still not working?
Yeah. Nope. I don't see a. Nope. The live event has ended. That's it. Although the timer is still counting. I don't know why that would be.
Now, what would happen if you can you click on the invite again to start it up?
That's a fair question. Let's see.
That's all I've got is good questions.
See, I'm actually curious. Did my sound quality change at all?
No?
No? Okay. Because whenever you go into a Teams meeting, your speaker audio
Oh, that's always a
will
disorienting
get
experience. I hate
will get
that.
affected. All right, let's see what happens when I open this back up. Join. But yeah, I would like to. I like the ability to be able to like be on a call and count that towards my time that I'm putting in for work, if I can do it. Which
Sure.
you know, it's against our. We're not allowed to at work, but if I'm doing other things, outside things, nobody can tell me I can't. Yeah, no. Live event has ended. Create a new one to start broadcasting to attendees. No go.
So if there's an option, it is not intuitive.
Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe you have to enable it or something in the admin center. I don't think so, though. I think it
Make a note.
comes
We're
with
taking that one off the list too.
yeah, right. It's not deserved to be on the list, the naughty list. All right. Well, I think that's all I've got for today, Sean. Anything else you wanted to chat about before we kick off?
I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, that's nice. You're just happy to not be at work right now and being able to like actually chill for a little bit.
Just enough time to catch my breath, and then I'm back at it.
School after this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I do not envy you at all on that one.
Got
All right,
A
well,
pluses in marketing and technology entrepreneurship. And now
Ooh.
I'm on to supply chain management.
And I'm sure that class is going to teach you nothing about the historical aspects of things and only talk about current events.
I
Not going to
can't
be very
wait.
useful.
It's just going to be an entire 7.5-week course about the Evergreen or the Ever Given blocking the Panama Canal or the Suez
right.
Canal.
Yes, exactly. that and how just in time isn't nearly as good as the Japanese said it was going to be back in the day. Who knew? But, all right. Well, I think that about does it. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, a like and subscribe is much appreciated. Leave a comment below to continue the discussion. Sean, thank you so much for joining me this week. And everybody else, thanks so much for watching either live, which if you're interested in watching live, you can absolutely do so. We put out the events usually over the weekend, so you should be able to plan ahead. And otherwise, if you watch later on, that's totally cool as well. Thank you very, very much for watching, and we will see you all next week.